Well, this video today is something a little bit different. Normally, trains is what I do videos about, but these aren't trains. I'm going to talk about my Dimestore Soldiers. Okay, these two particular soldiers here, the one on the left is a Barclay soldier. Barclay was a manufacturing company, was in business basically from the 20s into the 60s. And the one on the right is a Manoil soldier, and they were only in business for about maybe 20 years, not as long as Barclay. But they're both radio operators, soldiers, and I got them here on my radios. I collect old radios too, so I got a lot of old radios. This one's from a B-17. Anyway, they're all over the place, but this video is about the soldiers. So anyway, hope you enjoy it. It's something a little bit different. Okay, this is me in 1949 with two of my Marx trains. But the main reason I'm showing you this is because the layout has a lot of Barclay people on the layout, including there's a cowboy way on the right, and a bunch of skaters. As you go over here, some railroad people, cop, newspaper boy, etc. I think there's a Boy Scout in there too. So this is in 1949, and anyway, we added to the collection over the years. But even back then, I really loved the Barclay Soldiers. They sold for 10 cents a piece back then, and in the 1920s, they were selling for a nickel a piece. And at the end of the existence in the 60s, they were only 15 cents a piece. So anyway, I really like those Barclay people. Well, these dime store soldiers were what they considered a hollow cast, and they were hollow cast out of lead. And what that means is basically the lead was poured into a mold, and before it got to totally set up, it was poured back out. And so you would have the lead adhered to the side of the mold, and you would have the inside of the figures hollow. See, like these are a couple of my broken ones. And you notice they're hollow inside. This is very similar to how they make chocolate covered cherries. So, basically the chocolate's poured into a mold and then it's dumped back out. And then after that sets, they put the cherries in. The bulk of my collection is in these display cases, cabinets. The earliest Barclay soldiers were these guys on horseback. They're kind of a little bit smaller than the other soldiers, but they're from the 20s, 1920s. But I got, I guess, most of them. But they're kind of neat for the times. And they kind of were a little bit more detailed than the later ones, in my opinion. So, but anyway, I'm just going to peruse the collection real quick here. You'll see that besides soldiers, they got into Boy Scouts. There's a deep sea diver. Of course, they made guns. And then you have private citizens, like these guys here with the suits and hats. And of course, you had soldiers that were in dress uniforms, radio operators, guys with binoculars there. A lot of cowboys and Indians. A lot of stuff with guns. It's some sailors. You had a guy there on a stretcher and wounded soldier. There's guys crawling up here on the shelf. Some of these here later ones, you notice the earlier ones mostly all have stands. The later ones, to save material, they just had fat feet. They called them pod feet soldiers. get a lot of non-soldiers, I guess you would call them. There's the guys here, and a man and a woman in a sleigh. People in sleds. Skaters, a lot of skaters, different skaters. Skiers. There's a bride and a groom. People sitting on a bench. Motorcycle cops. Basically a lot of railroad figures, engineer, porter, conductor, etc. Policemen, firemen. Anyway, they made quite a variety of figures. And I've tried to collect mostly what I can. I'm missing a few, but I got most of them. They're kind of a neat thing to collect amongst all the other things I collect. Anyway, here, let me stop for a second. Of course, you also got animals, and these are some smaller people. They're just a fun thing to collect. I forgot to mention there's a pirate there, and then you see the guy that parachuted down, a guy with an open parachute. There's a photographer right there, and you got Red Cross people, medics, I guess. It's just a lot of fun collecting these things. I love the cowboys and Indians. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little look into my Dimestore Soldier collection. Thanks for watching.